I'm Dani Carr. I've been a critter since day one of the first campaign, and now I work for Geek and Sundry as a production coordinator and as the segment producer for Talks Machina. I am here to keep you up to date on what is happening on each episode of Critical Role. We shot the first 7 episodes of Critical Recap as a segment on Mothership, and now we've put them together along with recaps of episodes 8, 9, and 10 in one video to catch you up on the story so far. Last week, we started a brand new campaign! It's 20 years after the events of Vox Machina. We're on the continent of Wildmount, in a town called Trostenwald, in an inn. We meet Caleb, Liam's human wizard, and Not, Sam's female goblin rogue. They're a pair and have been traveling together for a bit. Down in the tavern, they meet Laura's tiefling trickery cleric Jester, Marisha's human monk Beauregard, and Travis's half-orc warlock Ford, another group that has been traveling together. These two groups chat and converse when Taliesin and Ashley's characters blow through. Taliesin is playing an ostentatious blood hunter tiefling named Mollymog, and Ashley is a gruff barbarian named Yasha.
Well, I don't believe I've ever seen a group of people more in need of a good time in my entire life.
Molly and Yasha engage with the two parties, inviting them to the circus that has come to town. Molly is a fortune teller, which delights Jester, so he gives her a tarot card reading. After Molly and Yasha leave, the two groups talk about magic in the Soltris Academy, which Ford wants to join to learn more about magic. Caleb shows off his familiar, a cat named Frumpkin. The two groups decide to spend the day together, as there is safety in numbers. Matt describes an absolutely riveting circus performance. For the last act, a raging devil toad is brought in on chains, and a young dwarven girl appears at the top of the tent, singing beautifully and calming the beast. Matt pulls off an amazing sound cue for this as well.
A soft, faint voice begins to slowly emanate from the air.
As the singer performs, an old man in the audience begins changing into a horrible undead monster. The crowd freaks out and tries to leave while the party leaps into action. They fight the transformed man, who kills a woman in the crowd, causing her to transform into another undead monster. Magic is flying, swords and fists are swinging, and our squishy party members deal and take some damage. Yasha rages and destroys the first undead monster, while Bo takes out the second with flurry of blows for the first How Do You Want to Do This of the new campaign. Now that the threats are down, it's time to deal with the town guards. No one can explain what happened, not even the people in the circus. The Watchmaster arrests the circus members, including Molly. Taliesin is 2 for 2 on starting campaigns in jail. The group gives the guards both real and fake names.
The rest of you, what are your names?
Shirley.
Temple.
Caleb Widowguest.
You're not supposed to tell them.
Bo, same as him.
Bo.
I am Bo.
Yasha manages to trick a guard and escape without being arrested. Bye, Yasha. The party bemoans the fact that they are being punished for helping, but the Watchmaster makes it clear that if they flee, he will find them. And that is it for episode 1 of Critical Role Campaign 2. The newly formed party find themselves dealing with the law as Molly and Bo are taken to jail. Molly's persuasion and Ford's deception releases them, but the group must stay at the inn until further notice. Donning disguises the next morning, they manage to leave the inn without suspicion from the guards.
Level 2, trying to get out of a fucking inn.
So hard.
I should have, and now I'm kicking myself.
They investigate the old man who transformed, but after a whole day, they find nothing of importance about him. The real mystery is the carnival. They head there in the middle of the night, Caleb and Ford hanging outside disguised as Crown's Guard, while the others go into the circus proper. Molly and Bo head to see the Knot Sisters and Orna the Fire Dancer, while Jester and Knot find Clowry the Devil Toad and Toya the young singer. Jester senses the Devil Toad is actually a fiend. Through conversation with Toya, Jester and Knot think that Orna is responsible. Bo talks with the Knot Sisters and Orna when Jester and Knot burst in, placing the blame on Orna. Molly disbelieves this, and as they list off the circus members, Jester reveals that Clowry is a fiend, which is a complete surprise to the rest of the circus.
You guys know he's a fiend, right?
There's like this moment of silence, like, he's supposed to be lizard folk.
Caleb sees Clowry emerge from a tent, and 2 guards collapse to the ground, dead. He bounds away toward the lake, and both of the dead guards begin to transform into familiar undead monsters. And that's it for episode 2 of Critical Role. The party was immediately thrust into battle with the 2 undead creatures from last week. Luckily, they managed to defeat the monsters and track the Devil Toad all the way to the lake, where his tracks disappear into the water. They notice a small island in the middle of the Oostalok. They head back to the inn to rest up and keep their cover from the guards. Caleb utilizes Find Familiar and turns Frumpkin into a sparrow, using him to run reconnaissance on the island. After gathering information on the Devil Toad's identity and eluding the guards once again, the party heads to Cricketstone Island.
Stone used to be where an old witch lived about 100 years ago. No one goes over to Crooked Stone.
No one goes to Crooked Stone.
That is our siren's call.
It isn't long before they stumble upon their prize, Clowry the Devil Toad. He summons 3 imps as protection and compels Toya, the young dwarven girl, to sing and debuff the party. Bo busies herself with taking care of Toya's singing, while the rest of the party deals with Clowry and the imps. The fight is brutal! Caleb goes unconscious, Jester, Molly, and Nott all take severe damage, and while Ford gets the "how do you want to do this" on Clowry, he's then immediately knocked out by an imp. An imp! Level 2! Luckily, Bo takes out the final imp.
So I'm just gonna run up and be like, come, you stupid. I'm gonna try stomping it on first.
So you're gonna try and knock it to the ground and stomp on it? Is that what you're doing?
Jester heals Ford to consciousness while Nott resuscitates Caleb. They take a short rest to heal, pondering the company they're now keeping. And that's it for episode 3 of Critical Role. The group is fresh off their hard-fought victory over Clowry the Devil Toad. They managed to get his disembodied head to the mainland, but unfortunately scar the innocent young Toya in the process.
We literally cut the head off Barney and just shoved it in her face.
Barney was making
The Barney that had been raising her, yes. Yes.
Ford keeps watch over Clowry's head, and though the party attempts subterfuge and stealth, they are eventually all arrested for sneaking out. Caleb convinces Lawmaster Norder to examine the head, leading to a midnight trial. Testimony from the party and the book that Caleb found about fiends convinces Norder that Clowry was responsible for the deaths. Everyone is released, except Gustav, who must stay in town and work off a 2,000 gold debt. Gustav disbands the carnival, but Orna keeps it going with Toya and a few others. The party discusses sticking together and where they might venture next. Meanwhile, Bo is approached by a figure from her past. She is introduced to Expositor Dyron, who begins instructing her on the teachings of the Cobot soul. While Caleb finally bathes and learns new spells, the party purchases a map that Matt provides in person.
Finally, good to give that to you guys.
Shut the front door!
And I have a pretty ribbon out of it.
They choose the Solstice Academy as their final destination, with a stop in ZADASH. They also purchase a fungus drug called Skein. Satisfied with their various smells, spells, and remedies, the group hits the road, heading to ZADASH. And that is it for episode 4 of Critical Role. The newly minted adventurers hit the road to ZADASH. While potential misdeeds are spoken of, their first day is fairly nondescript. They camp for the night, and in another one-on-one session, Ford dreams of his watery patron.
The eye kind of opens a bit and leans closer towards you. Potential.
Ford awakes, spitting up seawater. The group questions him, whereupon he reveals how he found the falchion after a fateful voyage and is headed to the academy to learn more about the mysterious blade.
You taste like a seaman.
After traveling for a second day, they push into the night to reach the small town of Alfield. As they get close, they see it erupt into flame. Gnolls are attacking the town! The group leaps into action, attacking the creatures. Bo deals most of the damage, and the party manages to drive the Gnolls away, but in the process, the Gnoll leader KOs both Nott and Molly in one turn.
The leader.
Oh no.
Yep. Kind of sees the 3 of you there, puts the glaive away with one hand, turns around as he draws his long bow, and
Luckily, Jester is able to heal both of them. The Gnolls escape with a cart full of meat and corpses, and they wonder what the Gnolls could be feeding that would require so much meat. They are paid 60 gold each for their help, and a Crown's Guard requests that the party destroy the rest of the Gnolls and bring back proof of their defeat. The party heads to bed, rejoicing in their newfound gold and preparing for their Gnoll hunt the next day.
60 gold.
60 gold. Caleb.
This was a good idea.
And that is it for episode 5 of Critical Role. It's the morning after the Gnoll attacks in the town of Alfield. The group heads to the Broad Barn, a general store, where they speak with Watchmaster Bryce about payment for the upcoming Gnoll hunt. Bryce tells them more about Gnolls, including that they worship a demon called Yinagu.
Sometimes if you go down through the alphabet, A, B...
As you're saying this, they pull a small series of notes from their pocket. Yinagu. Yinagu.
With a Y? That would have taken forever.
Bryce wants the party to make haste, as they are worried about the lives of the kidnapped townspeople. The group makes a few purchases before heading off, tracking the Gnolls. They eventually find the stolen carts abandoned outside of a mine shaft. They send Frumpkin flying in first.
Canary in a Gnoll mine.
Then Nott enters, having gotten drunk enough to access the brave part of her name. She is discovered by a couple Gnolls, and the party comes to her aid, killing the creatures. They move further into the mine, finding 2 paths and taking the right one. They find gnolls and hyenas gathered around a creepy altar. The lead priest is a human wearing gnoll-like armor. He places hearts on the altar, leaving as the gnolls devour the sacrifices. The party attacks those remaining, with Not getting the hard-fought "how do you want to do this" on the last gnoll. They discover some healing potions, and ignore the sound of more gnolls further in the mine in order to investigate the altar to Yinago.
This high-pitched, shrieking scream that says, "No! My baby!"
Oh no.
You're a
We have
mean
to
man.
hurry forward. This is what happens when we sit down and we talk.
The party rushes after the voice, and that is it for episode 6 of Critical Role. The group heads after a scream that resounds deeper in the gnoll mines, finding a child being held captive by gnolls. They rescue the boy, though they nearly get him killed in the process.
The whole time I'm grumbling like, oh, I could have gotten that last told it that he would have heard a really good bell, and instead I'm doing this.
During the fight, guest Kari Payton joins the fray as Shikasta, a Tempest cleric. The group kills the gnolls and rescue a couple other survivors in another room. The group heads to the surface to get the survivors to safety, after which they head back down into the mines. They fight more gnolls and the gnoll pack leader. There's a tense moment where Bo gets Sparta kicked down a hole, but she manages to monk climb her way out. Jester and Not take down the pack leader together.
15.
15 points of damage.
4 points of damage.
How do you guys want to do this?
They find a cavern where a human wearing gnoll flesh offers living sacrifices to a monstrous manticore and its baby. The party attacks the manticore and the priest, causing a distraction while Not releases the prisoners. As the party continues their attacks, Not kills the manticore's baby to draw its attention.
You want to save this thing? And I will slice down with my short sword on the baby.
Bo rescues Not from the manticore's clutches, but the process knocks Not out. Jester cures Not, and Caleb gets the "how do you want to do this" on the priest, but his fire spell releases a wave of memories.
What?
What was that?
Shikasta, it's your turn.
Shikasta kills the manticore, and the group heads back to town with the survivors. They are hailed as heroes, with no one sure what to call them, and Shikasta disappears into the forest. And that is it for episode 7 of Critical Role. The party celebrates their victory over the gnolls and the manticore. Caleb identifies each of their new items, which includes dark vision goggles for Bo, a ring of water walk, a wand that causes uncontrollable smiling, and a glove of scorching ray. The party retires for the night, during which Caleb resummons Frumpkin as a cat, and Bo opens her stolen parcels from the bomb box, finding a letter with a coded message.
Investigation. Is this a code? Is this backwards? This is backwards, isn't it? Fuck balls.
You don't know.
In the morning, Bo shows Jester the letter, and they work out that the code is referring to bloodroot, a type of poison. The party heads to see Bryce for the rest of their payment. Bryce asks for a name for their paperwork, and they present themselves as the Mighty Nine.
Hey,
The
Zimnian guy.
mighty, that's good.
You know good words and like the sound cool in Zimnian, right?
We are the Mighty Nine.
9?
Jester requests that Sarasta Kosh write Ford a letter of recommendation for the Soldiers Academy. When he is about to protest, she tells him that the Ruby of the Sea says hello, and he hurries off to write the letter. Jester explains that her mother is a famous courtesan known as the Ruby of the Sea, and she recognized Kosh as one of her former clients. Jester goes into detail about her life as the secret daughter of a courtesan. Kosh gives them the letter for Ford, and the Mighty Nine head back onto the road to ZADASH. In the middle of the night, the party is snuck up on by bandits, but they manage to fend them off.
You all have one fucking job. You go and you tell all your stupid friends no one fucks with the Mighty Nine.
The next day, they finally reach the gates of the large city of ZADASH. They find a magic shop run by a furbolg named Enchanter Pumat Sol.
Oh, that's an illusion.
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, I'm Enchanter Pumat Soul.
The shop is run by himself and several duplicates. The group purchases healing potions, and Caleb buys some ink and paper for his spells. They trade the glaive and 200 gold for an enchanted haversack, which Jester requests be colored pink. The party heads to the Leaky Tap to find a place to stay, and that is it for episode 8 of Critical Role. The party enters a tavern called the Leaky Tap. They manage to confuse the Dragonborn barkeep over their name and number of party.
And a tap under the 9.
9. 9.
Just 9.
9 will do.
We succeed.
Jester joins a card game wherein she attempts to cheat at the game. Not and Caleb help her, and even though she gets caught, the three of them are intrigued by this new potential scheme. They look for Claudia Sheed, the woman that Bryce told them to find.
The one on the landing.
One on the landing it is.
What the fuck was that?
Wow, y'all.
We've been hanging out far too long.
She directs them to the job board located in King's Hall. She also names the 6 gods that are allowed to be worshipped in the city, none of whom are worshipped by the party. They see a group of people begin to gather in the cellar. The people are here to discuss their problems with the Dundalian Empire and refer to themselves as the Knights of Requital. The leader mentions that he has found someone who might be able to give them a voice in the political proceedings. Though Not wants to turn in the Knights of Requital into the authorities, they agree to leave them alone. Jester wants to go to the pillow trove to pick up the money that she is convinced her mom sent her. They find out that the Crown's Guard are taking credit for their victory in Allfield. Caleb is concerned about the group wanting to be famous. They check out the job openings at the King's Hall, which include information on the Myriad and Rebel gatherings, proof of heretical worship, and a beast extermination. They head to the bathhouse where they find Yasha in the baths.
You see a familiar, pale-looking, muscular woman with darker hair that fades to light, as there is Yasha kind of staring you with a curious look.
She explains that she tracked them to ZADASH and has heard the name the Mighty Nine. They teach not to swim and discuss the job openings, deciding to take on the beast extermination. They go to the King's Hall and accept the job, giving fake names. The dwarf in charge gives them more details about the job, and Yasha calls him out on his lack of faith in them.
I'm sure you will.
I sense a little sarcasm here, sir.
It's a dwarven thing. The resting bitch voice.
Jester goes to pick up the money from her mother, but she has received no packages. Jester is upset by this and prays to the traveler, who appears to her, giving her comfort. Caleb tries to get into the inner city in order to shop at Chastity's Nook, but his efforts consistently fail. The Mighty Nine meet back up and head out to the sewers in search of the mysterious beast they must slay. And that is it for episode 9 of Critical Role. The Mighty Nine must delve into the sewers to find a mysterious beast, slay it, and bring back proof of its demise. They talk to the Crown's Guard, but receive no information on what kind of monster they are up against, but they do receive a writ that allows them to enter the sewers. The party descends into the sewers, led by Yasha. They find their way through the maze, having to fight a group of sewer rats. They find masses wrapped in webbing, and Caleb casts Unseen Servant for the first time in order to investigate the masses, finding 2 dead Crown's Guard.
I wonder if the giant spider thing heard that.
What?
Probably.
What did you say? I did not understand
I
your
said
accent.
I wonder if the giants...
They move further into the sewers and find more dead bodies attached to the walls with web. Among the dead, there is a tattooed halfling that is still alive. As they attempt to free him, a huge spider appears, attacks Ford, and disappears. Phase spider! Ah! The Mighty Nine attack, having to contend with the spider's ability to phase and the rough terrain caused by all the sticky webs. Molly finally gets the how do you want to do this with vicious mockery!
Mock him.
All right, I mocked him, and that's
Mock him to death.
that's 3 points of psychic damage, and he has really does it not even matter, and then he has a disadvantage on the next attack.
How do you want to do it? You mocked the spider to death.
As they bind up the spider, Jester and Bo deal with the now conscious halfling. Nott speaks to him in halfling and in Thieves' Cant, gaining his trust, while Bo questions him what he knows about the gentleman. That name clearly scares the halfling, who only gives them a key phrase to speak at the evening nip if they wish to find out more information. Caleb manages to find some golden armor, at first concealing it from the party, but later giving the gold to Jester and giving Ford the armor covered in sea motifs in exchange for the glove of Scorching Ray. They head to the Tri-Spire with the spider, meeting the Lawmaster of ZADASH, Arentha. While they clean up at the leaky tap, Ford and Bo are approached by a member of the Knights of Requital. The dwarf, Dolan, invites the Mighty Nine to another meeting, impressed by their work with the spider. The group discusses the meeting, and Caleb bemoans the death of Frumpkin.
Who kicks a fucking cat?
Yeah, what they
Exactly.
That's
Who
a
kicks
dick.
a fucking cat? Exactly
did
is
kick
my
a
point. You can do a
dick?
lot of things and have a very bad day, but who kicks a cat?
Luckily, he can resummon his cat tomorrow. The Mighty Nine want to celebrate their victory and try to get to Jester's hotel room in the Pillow Trove. Their attempts are rebuffed, and instead they head to the Evening Nip, a bar that ends up being exceptionally creepy and unsettling. They decide that this is not the place for a celebration and leave after only 1 drink. And that is it for episode 10 of Critical Role.